Can my employer legally deduct uniform costs from my pay? If you wear a uniform for work, you might wonder if your employer can take money out of your paycheck to cover the cost. It's a common question, and the answer depends on federal and state laws. Knowing your rights helps you spot illegal deductions and protect your wages. Under federal law, specifically the Fair Labor Standards Act, employers can deduct uniform costs only if your pay stays above the minimum wage. For example, if you earn $12 an hour and the minimum wage is $7.25, the deduction can't bring your pay below that. This includes the cost of buying uniforms and maintaining them, like cleaning or repairs. However, if you earn exactly the minimum wage, your employer cannot deduct anything for uniforms. The law also says deductions cannot cut into your overtime pay. So, even if your employer tries to spread the cost over several paychecks, they cannot reduce your earnings below the minimum wage. State laws often add more rules. Some states, like California and New York, requiring employers to pay for uniforms and their cleaning. Others may allow deductions only if the uniform isn't distinctive or can't be worn outside work. It's a good idea to check with your state's labor department to see what specific rules apply where you work. If your employer requires you to wear a uniform, here's what you should remember. If you earn more than the minimum wage, they can deduct uniform costs as long as your pay after deductions stays above the minimum wage. If you earn minimum wage, they cannot deduct for uniforms at all. Some states even prohibit all deductions for uniforms or requiring the employer to pay for them upfront. If a deduction would make your pay fall below the minimum wage, it's illegal, even if spread out over multiple pay periods. Employers cannot avoid these rules by asking for cash payments instead of payroll deductions. If they do, you have the right to file a complaint with your state labor department or the U.S. Department of Labor. Special cases include exempt employees, who are usually salaried workers. Employers generally cannot deduct uniform costs from their salaries. Also, if the uniform is ordinary clothing that you could wear outside of work, different rules might apply. Some states requiring employers to pay for cleaning uniforms unless they can be washed with regular laundry. If you think your employer made an illegal deduction, keep records of your pay stubs and any communication about uniforms. You can contact your state labor agency or the Federal Wage and Hour Division to file a complaint. They will investigate and help you recover any wages owed. In the end, whether your employer can legally deduct uniform costs depends on how much you earn, where you work, and what your uniform policy says. Federal law sets the minimum standards, but state laws might give you extra protections. If you face an illegal deduction, reaching out to a labor agency can help you get the wages you deserve.